The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Dr. Sonja Stribling. Dr. Sonja is a 21-year Army, highly decorated combat veteran who's committed to empowering women. As a life coach, business expert, she's a recipient of the Barack Obama Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. She specializes in empowering women to discover their inner power, ascend to the next level in life and in business. Less than 3 years ago, she found herself in a place as a single mum, divorced after 18 years of marriage, and retired from the US military, where she served for 21 years. She was broken financially, emotionally, and spiritually, and was forced to figure out a way to generate income to provide for her and for her children. Dr. Sonja was given a second chance, and she is now helping and creating opportunities for people to create wealth, happiness in months, not in years. She's dedicated to helping women who are frustrated and feel like they aren't enough. The sacrifices that women make for others, but haven't focused on what they want on life. Dr. Sonja is on a mission. She's a power force, and she's helping millions of people all over the world. I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Sonja at the Best You Expo in London and in Long Beach in California, and she's going to be speaking in our future events too. She has this phenomenal energy. Women are driven and drawn towards her because, she has this inner strength. And it wasn't always there, and it wasn't easy. She has an amazing life. This is a phenomenal interview where she's going to share some insights which will really show you how strong she is and how she's managed to change her life around. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. So listen, thank you everyone for being here today. We've had so many people signing up to watch the webinar today. We know there's going to be loads of people watching this because we're going to share this recording between now and the expo. But I'm just delighted. I've promoted many people, and the first time I met Dr. Sonja, and I remember she was at the expo. Mm-hmm. All I heard was this ridiculous, amazing energy in this room. And apart from the energy in the room, there was more people standing outside than there was inside the room. It was full. Everything was so...
Yes,
and I said, who is this? Who is this force? Who is this woman? And I remember, obviously, with Katie and get you involved. So, look, it's an absolute honor. So what I wanted to do today, Dr. Sonja, with your permission, is because obviously some people might have not heard your story or seen you and attended the expo or come across you in the past. So I wanted to put kind of in context, and obviously we're going to use this as well as a podcast at a later date. I wanted to put it in, kind of just really share a little bit about your story and your life, because you've had such a phenomenal journey to get to where you are today. Because, people tend to think that, success happens overnight. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It's and obviously, exactly. And I know how hard you worked. So can you just share a little bit about yourself, where you were born, your early years, what was life like?
Yes, absolutely. First off, I got to say, Bernardo, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of such an amazing event. And I heard of you before I got there, but when I got the opportunity to really get to see you in action and how energetic you are and how caring you are, it's just say thank you for those that are attending, that attended last year and the ones that are attending this year. So I got to say, on behalf of all of us that love the idea of the best you, thank you. First off, second thing about me, when you said something, it's like people think you just woke up in success, and it doesn't. And just my story, born to mom and dad, Oscar and Ruby Davis, in a small country town in Wilson, Arkansas. It's probably 1,000 people. We live right there on like the city line to a very small country farm down the street. And I'm the youngest of 12 kids.
Wow.
And so by the time my mother had me, she was tired. I have siblings that are in their 70s. Everybody's in their 50s. And it was just an amazing life. At 15 years old, I had my first child. So if anyone has a teenager or a grandchild, that was me at 15 because I had a lot of freedom. I didn't understand. I enjoyed it then, but as I got older, it was something like, man, why did I have all that freedom? My mom had me at 45. So by the time I'm a teenager, I'm kind of running around being an adult. But 15 years old, had my first child. Bernardo at 17, like 1 out of 3 women went through this case of rape. Was left in the field at 17 years old in the wrong place at the wrong time. Got in the car, and he supposed to take me home, and he took me to an open field and beat me, left me there bloody, came back and got me. But I finally got a chance to get away. And so that kind of shaped my life. So that's teenage years. Shortly after that, I joined the United States Army at 22 years old, and I was able to serve my country. And that was my way, honestly, and I kind of share now, that was my way to be able to physically and mentally be able to fight back through all of the things that I dealt with. But I did go to college. My mom was there, thank goodness, to help me raise my son while I played college football. You know, I'm thinking about college football today, college basketball. So that pretty much shaped my younger years of being a young woman, having a lot of freedom, and I had to grow up fast.
Your career, what you've just summarized in less than 3 minutes, obviously, was a lot. And so I can only imagine as a young girl, first having a kid, so young at that age, which obviously can, be a burden. But additionally to that, obviously the fact that you were raped at that age. Now, I know, was it 21 years in the Army, in the armed forces?
21 years. Mm-hmm. 3 tours. Yes, 3 combat tours. I've been to Iraq and places like that where most men don't want to go, but I found myself there. Yes. And
I think kind of one of the things that obviously comes across when one meets you is obviously the level of confidence that you have now, but it wasn't always that way, because apart from obviously the challenges you had when you were younger, you did suffer obviously with some depression or
yes.
severe depression, and
yes.
and that was obviously kind of, well, for some of us to understand what that means. Explain what that actually was for you, and what did you actually go through?
Well, honestly, I would say about 4 years ago, I did my 21 years in the military, had 3 children by this time. And so I'm making a decision to retire, and I'm going through this transition. So it's always a transition. No matter where you are in your life, there's always going to be transitions. Well, my transition was trying to figure out who I was going to be when I grew up. Now, here I am in my late 30s, and I'm retiring from the military, and I got the rest of my life to do what I want. And I went through that transition. But I went through a divorce, mind you. So I was married 18 years, and 3 years after the 18 years, I was trying to figure that out. Okay, who am I now? I've been married most of my adult life. And so that was the onset of the depression. So the onset of depression, now having to transition out of the military, and you have these kids, and I have a son in college, I have an adult son, and I have one in high school. And Bernardo, it was a lot. And I know many, even men that are watching, but for women, our mindset is different. So I'm out here in this big world all by myself. Mind you, I was a major in the United States Army, been to combat, but it was different. It was just more so I had to figure this out pretty much on my own. I was spiritually grounded. However, many people couldn't understand, how does a strong woman, because when you looked at me, everything was great. My hair was together, my makeup and all of that. But inside, I was literally dying. And I just remember lying on my couch in this very home and saying, you know what, Lord, I don't want to be here anymore. This is way too much. This is too much pressure. I got kids to take care of. I'm financially and spiritually just broken at this moment. And it was an onset. I remember, Bernardo, not going outside for months. I only went to go to my son's basketball game or football game, but a majority of the time as I was making this transition, I didn't go outside. I was just in the house, on the couch, in my bed, sleeping the majority of the time. And that in itself, that was a place. And if anybody finds himself there, that is a deep, dark place that you don't want to be there. Matter of fact, you don't want to be there too long, because you can really slip into this place of really taking your own life.
And I know now, obviously, you've gone through, and I like what you were saying, that there were always in some kind of transition period. In a transition period now, How did you get to, from where you were, from, leaving the army, obviously kind of questioning, what do I do now? Overcoming, marriage. And how have you come to become what you are now? Because, you are this force that literally inspires women with your story and obviously with your expertise, because, you're a life coach, you're a divorce coach. I mean, you help and assist people in many ways. How have you come to have this mindset that you have now?
Well, it was just going through that period. I think it was just a rock bottom. I think if anyone's ever experienced rock bottom, I think for the majority, most of us do, maybe not at the level of some other folks, but we always hit this place. And I start thinking about rock bottom as a solid foundation as well. And so it was more so I didn't have, for me, that woman or that person to really help me go through this. People will talk to you about it. You can go to a therapist and do this. But I needed someone to really have a conversation of, hey, you're feeling this way because of this. Now, you're going to go through this, but eventually it won't last forever. So I decided that I wasn't going to focus on me. I was going to focus on other folks. I was going to focus on other women. And that's when I became the divorce coach and became the life coach and the business coach. But it was more so, Bernardo, the first step that I took, I had to admit that something wasn't right. I just really literally took a mask off and said, you know what, I'm going to have to face this. There's no one here to talk about it and say, oh, yes, divorce is horrible, but you'll rebound or you'll recover. No one was saying that. They were saying, and I'll be honest, most of them, oh, just pray about it, meditate about it. And I didn't want to. I'd done that so long. And I said, you know what, there's got to be more. So I took this leap of faith and said, you know what, I'm going to trust in me, because I can't trust in anyone else right now. My kids are depending on me. My family's looking at me as, oh my gosh, you got it all together. What are you talking about? And so I made a decision that I was going to become for other women what I didn't have when I needed it. And so that was a lot of responsibility. I wasn't always this confident. I wasn't always the person who walked in the room with their head held high. I was just very insecure. But I just took a stance of, I want to be my best self. That's exactly what it was. It wasn't oh my God, I got 5 steps. I went through those steps later, but it was just a decision that had to be made, whether I was going to live or I was going to die. And honestly, I had already died. Emotionally, I was dead. But physically, I had to do something because I couldn't live like that. So therefore, I just took on this stance of, let me go out and help some other women who really need what I have to offer. And all I had at that moment was my story. Can I help someone else? And Bernardo, I honestly started walking through that journey of helping other people. And it's a miracle happened. I'm joking, but it didn't. I began to change. The focus wasn't on my life and what I didn't have. The focus on what I did have, what I was thankful for, and what my children were going to be able to see how strong their mommy really was. And so I set out on this mission of helping other women. And next thing I knew, they were coming from everywhere to hear my story. I was traveling, I was speaking, I wrote a book, I was coaching all of these women, and it just changed. And I just woke up one day thinking, oh my gosh. And that's where the born to be powerful came from. I literally believe every person, man, woman, or child, we're born with that, but something happens along the way that shifts that. So I had to get mine back.
Well, thank you. And there's so much there. I mean, and I think a lot of the times people tend to go through life with that experience of I'm alive technically, but I'm actually not living. I'm not pushing myself. Right. I'm not focusing. Right. I'm just getting through life. And there's a lot of people that don't take that conscious decision of saying, you know what, I am here, I am alive, I do have, many things. If you consider or compare ourselves, there's always someone who's worse off or much worse off. And they don't necessarily take action, they don't necessarily go for it. Right. Why is that?
It's just, there's a lot to deal with. I mean, this whole thing of best you, it's different for some people. And some are just living life. It's like, they're just existing. Yeah. You get up every single day, get out of bed, you go through the same thing, and you never make a decision of, I want it to be better. I want to be my best self. I want my best life. We may think it, we may even say it, but as far as taking action, it is because that's where the work comes in. People say it all the time, but I always say, I'm looking for fruit from that tree. So if you say you're a lemon tree, I'm looking for lemons. However, I'm looking and there's no fruit that's coming from there. And it's mainly because we haven't made a decision. And it's just a conscious decision. Like if you're going to make a decision to fall in love, okay, it's a decision. It is a decision that followed by action. And that's the part where I believe most people don't take that action because of fear, because of doubt. You know, we live in this world of society. Everything has got just like that. And most of us don't want to do the work. And it is work, honestly, getting to that best part of the centerpiece of who you are. And if you never, and so many people are walking around today, Bernardo, they never get there. And they're trying to figure out, that's why you see so many religions, so many spiritual acts, so many people just searching for something. Everybody is looking for something. But I believe if we would just take the time to take a look on the inside and say, you know what, am I there? And there's this whole thing that I came up with. It's like, it's called my next level pyramid. And it's like the red zone. And the red zone is where most people are at 50% or less, operating at 20% or less of their power. But 50% of the population is there. They're just there. It's overcrowded. Nobody wants anything better. It's like, woe is me. So-and-so did this to me. This happened. My husband left. My kids are acting up. It's just this population of people that just don't get it. Can I just get out of this red zone? It's overcrowded and nothing is happening there. And it's honestly where folks don't understand they have power at all, any whatsoever, even though it's probably more power in their little finger if they made a decision to do better.
If you're interested in working with me, contributing to the magazine, maybe speaking at any of our many events around the world, partnering or licensing The Best You, go to www.thebestyou.co.
Yeah, and it's sad, and that's one of the things that unfortunately, you know, I tend to mention that a lot of the times, you know, we understand, we know that there's an expiry date. Yes. We're mortals. We understand that. But we believe that we're immortal, that I'll take care of that tomorrow. I'll take care of that to the next week. Oh, no, I won't lose weight this year. I'll do it next year. I'll just eat another piece of cake or whatever it is. Excusitis. Have you had, or do you have, well, have you had someone that really helped you and inspired you?
You know what? I look back, I'll start with my mom, honestly. Even though at that moment, you know, she was a housekeeper and I didn't understand, you know, when you're young, you're like, oh, everybody else's mom is doing this. And I wasn't ashamed, but I was just thinking, well, Mom, why are you not doing more? But she had a third grade education. Just imagine, a third grader. But you're now in your 40s and 50s and 60s. But I loved her dearly because she was such a strong woman. And I watched, because my dad wasn't around, so I know she was responsible for, you know, my other siblings going off to college and joining the military and being successful. She was just that force, you know, always smiling, always happy. I never heard her say a curse word ever. Never saw her drink, never saw her do anything. But I know when she had to do something, I would just see this small statue woman just show up like a giant in the room. So it was just her for sure. And then along the way, there were coaches and mentors that I had that really believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And they stood in the gap to say, you know what, I see something in you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm not sure if you know of the late, great Dr. Miles Monroe. He was I would say, such a strong man. And I met him one day. He was at one of the leadership events that I was there and he was teaching. And I could just remember him talking to me for 3 days. He would, where's my Army girl? That's all he called me. Where's my Army girl? I said, yes, sir, I'm right here. And he said, there's so many things that are going to happen for you. You have no idea. Now, mind you, Bernardo, I'm going through a divorce. I'm just went through a divorce. So in my mind, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I am this broken woman. I got these kids. Boy said, I feel like a loser. And he kept saying, women are going to follow you from the north. They're going to come from the north, the south, and east, and the west just to be around you, for you to mentor them. And I'm thinking, I have nothing to offer them. What are you talking about? And he did not know. And before he died, I didn't get a chance to share with him how that word or what he spoke into my life really came to happen. It just manifested because I had to start believing that I am somebody. I really do have a story. I do have a voice. Well, maybe I could help one or two people. That was my thought. If I could just help one person, And I look up and there's thousands of women that are coming that my team and I get the chance to really help them get to their next level. So those people, and there's one other person I would say, and I know we always say this about Oprah, everybody talks about that. And I just keep having this vision as we're sitting just like on the porch, just drinking and talking about our lives and where where we've been. But I watched her from afar in the military. She was untouchable, right? You see people you watch, like when we met the Les Browns of the world, and you're sitting there and you're on stage and you're on the same stage with them. Just being able to see your dreams manifest right before your eyes, it is something that I do not take for granted. And I know it's not just me, it's for everyone who actually wants it.
Well, you said a couple of things there which are really important. I think one is the fact that the power of words, the power of encouraging words,
Yes.
to say the right things to people. Because sometimes that's the truth. The truth is that we can see things in people. If this is what we do, we see things in people that they don't necessarily see themselves. But it's those words of encouragement that all of a sudden make you, well, hold on a minute. How does he know? And oh my God, is this possible? And then you start questioning that. And it's also having people that believe in you and that coach you. I think a lot of the times people, they keep on going and they're doing the same things. They're thinking the same things. They're not thinking because they're not really thinking. They're not aware of the quality of their thoughts. But then they try and do it alone, and that's the power of coaching, mentoring, and having someone that can help you and support you, isn't it?
It changed my entire life. I tell even my clients now, I will never be without a coach. Normally I have about 2 or 3 on my team because there's so much, and I believe there's so much on the inside of us that needs to come out. And some people are able to see that before you are. They believed in me before I did. And it's a constant it's just the power of being in the right room, being around the right people. Just think back, Bernardo, when we were younger, the crowd of people that were around then. Imagine being around them now. It just probably wouldn't fit because our mindset, when your mind begins to expand and you think differently, and I tell folks, it is not what you don't know that is hurting us. It's what we know that's preconditioned from childhood and adulthood of things we keep doing over and over and over again. And they don't make sense. And you're trying to figure out, why can I get off of this? Why can I get the career that I want? Why can I get the husband that I want? Why can I expand and have a 7-figure business? It's because of how your mind is conditioned. And it's just being around people like yourself and the women and men that are going to be at the Best You Expo, that are there to share their stories, to share their life and help people. That's how you change your life. That's how my life changes. Sitting in a room one day and thinking, oh my gosh, I could really do this? And I wouldn't dare. I was looking around like, oh my God, I started to feel something. So the force you see around me is that same person that sat in a seat one day and said, I want to live. And if I'm going to live, I want to live to the best. I want to have a fulfilled life. I want to have a booming business. When the thought of a business, 6 or 7 figures, was not a thought. Like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to pay bills now. You're talking about generating income like that. And just honestly found a way to use my life experience and my knowledge to build my business based off of everything that I went through. And when people say, oh, there's no way to make extra money, I don't want to hear it. That's not the case. There's something that happened to you along the way that can help someone else along, where you're able to build such a business where it impacts lives. You have more impact and more influence, and honestly make more money.
Well, thank you. So I'm very, very excited to have you at the expo. Now, before we get into that, what is it I know you help all sorts of people, but what's your main focus? What do you teach people? What's your program? How do people really engage with you in that? And how do you support them to kind of find, that inner strength that we all have?
Well, I think, what I know, there's like 2 categories of people that are out there, right, Bernardo? There's a group of people, and this is just not women. So I do cater more to women, but I do have male clients. The smart ones come. They're like, hey, I don't care if you just coach women. I want this too. So there's a category of folks that really are trying to figure out life. They're going through this cycle, and it's like, hey, enough is enough. I got to get the help. I got to get the support. And so it's that group of folks that want to more fulfill life. They're just really... they know there's more. When you get to a place like there's got to be more, and you throw your hands up like there's got to be more than this. So that group of folks that really want to really have a fulfilled life. And that is my Life 180 program. So it's those who really just want to focus on their life. And then there's a second category of people where they want to continue to focus on their life. They're trying to figure this thing out. They want it to be better. However, they want to learn how to build a 6 and 7 figure coaching business or consulting business or become a mentor. Just really, they want more influence, they want more impact, and they want to build. And that's the building stage. And so the programs that I have for that is just helping them with their messaging, what it is that they basically, what business do you want to have? Because you can pick and choose. If you want to help people tie shoes, if you want to help show folks how to tie shoes, a A through Z concept, there's a way that you can build your business, scale it to 6 and 7 figures, work part-time, but was it work less and make more? So that's the building stage. And then there's this third group of people. They already have businesses, 6 and 7 figures, like one of my clients, Stephanie, was an attorney. And just looking at life and realizing that she was working a lot of hours. There's that group of folks, and I'm sure you've met them. They're working all these hours. They don't have time to spend with their family, and they want to learn how to work less and make more and really expand what they have. So that's the third category, and that's the expansion stage. And so those programs are a life program, and there's a business where taking your concepts of what you do, what your experience is, not just education. It's not that. This is with those who may not have other than no university, maybe high school, and things like that. So this is taking your life experiences and your knowledge and building a business. And that is building my empire. It's actually getting in position for power. So again, it's for those folks who want a better life and those who want to have a booming business.
To find out more about our latest projects, get a free coaching lesson, or download my book, go to www.bernardo-moya.com.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, look, the idea of this webinar and what we're trying to do as well, Dr. Sonja, apart from talking about the expo, is what I've identified with being a promoter and running events, is I've identified that there's a lot of people. There's 3 types of people. There are those that basically have given up, and they put their knee down. There are those that have these dreams of, doing things, but they don't actually take action. Then there's those that go and do it and make it happen. What I keep finding, and it's different in the US, okay, because, I've done a few things in the US. I love the US, and the US loves the best you. But what I find challenging is that I come across a lot of people in the industry, and I'm talking about coaches, trainers, therapists, people that are out there to help and inspire and make the world a better place, who have the best intentions, but they don't necessarily take action. And this is the whole idea of what we try to say is about harnessing and embracing live events. Why? And I know, listen, every time I see you, you're on a plane, you're on Instagram or something, you're always something. Why do you love, or why do you believe that what's so special about being involved in a live event?
Oh my gosh.
And what are the advantages as far as you're concerned?
I would say this to anyone who's on the fence of, should I go? What is this really? It is, and just the experience I had the very first time. But live events in itself, especially top of that, and I've been to a lot of events, a lot of expos. Best You is by far the best. There's no competition, and I've been to a lot of expos, Bernard. I'm not just saying this because we're here. But it is the best because the caliber of speakers that you have is just those who are not, this world is Instagram, social media, the pretenders that are out there pretending to have a business, pretending to do this. But there's a difference when you actually can be in a room and see the caliber of people and hear their stories and get a chance to know, okay, they actually are doing this. It's not, I'm pretending. That's one, to having that caliber of speakers that are there. And then the attendees. People are there, those 3 types of people that you just mentioned, they're there, but being around those who are like, look, I'm ready to do this. I'm looking for someone. Folks are coming looking for coaches and mentors and all of that. They're coming trying to figure this thing out. So 1, again, is a caliber of speakers. Number 2 is being in the room with dreamers. There is nothing. You can't get that on social media. You may be able to feel it through here. But being in the room and just like rubbing elbows and hopefully that stuff. I know the first time I went to one, I just wanted to touch somebody that wanted more, and just I was just literally, When I was there at Best U Expo, a young lady said to me, she said, I thought this was only, she said, for American women. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it blew my mind that we just don't get this. And I said, get what? What is it that you don't get? We don't get this encouragement per se. I'm like, you do, but you just got to go look for it. It's there. You can't get it in your garage. You can't get it in your house. You can't get it just watching television. You've got to be in the room with people that are movers and shakers and game changers. So being in the room with people. And number 3 is getting the opportunity just to dream. Some folks that I've met, one particular lady that I met at the Best U Expo, and she came up to me after I was done speaking. She said, you literally saved my life, because they were crying. It was one of the rooms, I think it was for women empowerment or something like that. And she came afterward and we cried together, honestly. And she was crying. She said, when you were talking, you don't realize that I was really ready to commit suicide when I left here. I came here with the hope that I would meet someone that can shift the way I think. I mean, that right there made me understand. That's why you see me on social media. I'm traveling. I'm on an airplane. I'm doing this. I love this piece. I don't want to pretend to be someone. I actually want to be that person. I want to be honest. I want the integrity. That's my drive. So the women that I coach and I teach and I mentor, that's what I'm teaching. This is not just for me. I'm not the only one. I'm not I'm blessed, but it's not just for me. This life and this lifestyle is not just for me. So those folks that are coming, they're looking for someone to set the example. They're looking for someone to actually save their life. And it's a lifeline is what it is. So you can't get this at home. You have to be at the Best U Expo. You have to get out of your house. And this is the last thing I'll say, Bernardo, on this. This is not about money. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I can't afford this. Oh my gosh, this is the biggest thing. It is not about money. How you do everything is how you do anything. So if money's always been this obstacle that you had to come against, that is one thing I will challenge you, because I'm raising my hand. It was me. Like, oh my gosh, I can't afford it. I got to do this. The kids got that. But the very first investment I made that I did not have, Bernardo, changed my life forever. And I will never, ever think about money the way I used to. I had to get respect for money, and then it started to respect me. And then money started to come to me. So I'm saying that to someone who's on the fence of, oh, I can't afford this. This is not about money anymore. It's a fact that you may not have it where you want. It may be a fact that there's more months than money. However, this is not about money. This is about changing your life. If you just change your mindset, your entire life will change, to include your financial situation.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Well, my experience, obviously, as having seen a lot of people speaking and experiencing, obviously, what it is to speak on stage, there's that connection, because, I think what happens is that, as you said, there's nothing like a post on Instagram, a book, whatever it is that you do. There's not that level of engagement that you get, because you feed from the energy. I mean, you have amazing energy when you get there, but I know you can hear literally a pen drop when you're speaking, when you're on stage, and you can feel the energy of people, and you can feel the love, because people come up to you, and obviously that hits you, because you're thinking and you're doing, and you can feel the emotions, you can see the tears in people's eyes, and that's kind of what I think the kick that I'm saying as a speaker we get, but it's also that one gets, that they she believes in me, he believes in me. So in my opinion, there's nothing like live events, and one of the things that I'm really pushing this year is on focusing around that, is because there's so much social media, there's so much internet, there's so much Instagram. You turn your emails off and all of a sudden you get full Facebook posts. Hey, I'm sending you some emails, right? You're not responding, or text message or WhatsApp or it's too much. It's too much. And this is 2 days to immerse yourself in focusing on what you want and what you're looking for. So,
and they won't be the same.
I'm very excited. No.
They will not be the same. It's life changing. And folks say that all the time, the conference hoppers, and they do all that. But the Best U Expo is life changing, literally, for the speakers and for the attendees that are there as well.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about in a minute about what you're going to share there at the Expo, because I'm very excited. We're going to have you very busy that weekend, that Friday, Saturday. But Dr. Sonja, tell me, I mean, one of the other things that I think is really important when it comes down to these events, and this again is if you're a speaker, you're an exhibitor, or you're an attendee, is that people underestimate the value of the people that are in the room, and I'm talking about the networking. I mean, when you combine thousands of people that are leaders in the industry, and we got a lot of Americans coming over this year, which I'm delighted about. We've got Bill Walsh, we've obviously got Greg Reed, we've got we've got Angela Tucci. We've got so many great speakers coming from the US, but it's those networking opportunities, isn't it? I mean, I know you've met a lot of people in the Expo, you made a lot of friends in the Expo, and we're all still also connected. Yes. That's something that really people underestimate, don't they?
Yes, they do. Because, you and I have seen each other a couple of times on different stages of like this networking. It's like sometimes people think you just go to an event to purchase or buy the things, but they're also that part of the networking. You never know who you're going to meet that is going to really honestly change your life, which could put you, have you doing this or really open your eyes to things. So the whole networking is very important because you're in London. I'm in the US. When it came, I was supposed to just go to the US. Like, no, I want to go to London. I'm like, oh, okay. And going there and having those connections has really changed the dynamics of really who I am, how I think about things, and just to know it's not just our box that we live in. It's not the US. It's not London. It's just us as a nation, and how do we change people? And there's so many connections and networking that you'll make. And then the team of people that gather now are gathering, and they're making teams in themselves to go and do the exact same thing to help change the lives of others out there. That is the most powerful thing I've ever seen.
Absolutely, and again, I really push that because it's something that is beautiful. Like, I love to see the relationships that have been created because of the Expo and the connections that we've all made. Now, okay, so we're gonna Friday, Saturday, 15th, 16th of February.
Yes.
We're gonna get you some roller skates because we're gonna have you running from one place to the other.
Love it. You know, that's me all day. It's just, if I'm in a room with people and you're talking about changing the lives of people, that's what I'm here for. That saved my life, honestly, just helping others. So I don't get away from that. I can't imagine not doing this. And I used to say, you start doing stuff when you decide what you're going to be and who you're going to help, you do it for free. And I did it for free for a very long time. So you do it for free long enough, money's going to start coming. But I do this because this is what I'm good at. You got to know what you're good at. I know that this is my calling. I know this is my gifting, and this is what I do well. I may not, I do cook well too, but it might not do everything well. But that is empowering. I don't like the encouraging, because encouragement just goes and it dies off. They'll, 30 days later, oh my gosh, Best You was great. And then they're here. This should be the empowerment to help people move from one mindset, one state of mind to another place. So it's the empowerment that's going to be the most impactful.
So you're on the main stage, and you're on the main stage, and then you're a masters, mentors, and influencers. So we're going to have you in 2 rooms, and we're probably going to have you in a breakout room as well. So Tell me, what are you going to be sharing? What are you going to be talking about at the Expo?
It is more so of one of the, well, I would say, depending on what stage we're talking about, let's say the influence is just how to have more influx, how to have more influence and more impact. Because we as influencers, that's really what we want to do. There's some of us have really big hearts we want to give, but we just don't know how. So we're going to have that conversations of the secrets that I call them, to be able to have more impact and more influence. And not just the income, because it's going to come. I'm going to talk about that, because most folks are coming, hey, how do I make more money? How do I make more money? Yeah, we can show you the steps. You're going to have plenty of people there to show you, but I want to show you how to not just get that, but to be able to keep it. A lot of times we don't. So it's more of winning the inner game of business. And that's the piece that I know that many entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers that are missing, is the inner game of business.
Perfect. And so that was what you're going to be sharing on the Masters Mentors. What are you going to be talking about on the main stage?
Oh, how to make 8 figures. Come on now. That's more of, honestly, how to generate the level of income that you want, 6 and 7 figures, and honestly 8 figures. As a speaker, if you decide you want to speak, most people do. I could probably ask at hands, and someone that is listening, who wants to be a speaker? And you see all the hands. Who wants to be a coach or a mentor? Most folks don't really know what that is. So we say mentor, folks raise their hand. But who wants to be an author? But what if you wanted to be all 3? There is a way to do that. the most impactful way, and honestly, Bernardo, I've spent a lot of time and invested a lot so folks don't have to learn, how do you become a triple threat? So Main Stage is talking about how do you become a triple threat in the world today, but people try to tell you how to choose. But I'm going to talk about how do you take one message, just one message, and dominate 3 different spaces. And that's as a coach, a speaker, or an author. So it's going to be I'm excited about that in itself because most folks don't know about it. It's a hidden secret, I believe, but it's not going to be a secret anymore at the Best You Expo.
Thank you. That's amazing. All right. And my last question, and I want to thank you so much. Many years from now, what would you like your legacy to be?
Oh man, that's a question I ask everybody else. No one's ever asked me. Okay, let me think about it. Wow. So if I'm sitting in my rocking chair at 100 years old and my great-great-grandchildren are sitting at my feet and my grandchildren and my children are sitting in the kitchen and we're celebrating my 100th birthday, I would love to hear my children say, she made a way for us. Not only did she leave a legacy and the income for our family, but she helped others do the exact same thing. She wasn't a very shy woman, but it's more of she changed the world just with her story. That's a strong and powerful thing. I can't believe I said it out loud, but I did. She changed the world with a story of a little girl, 15 years old, having a child, to the rape, being in the military, and just she was born to be powerful. And not only was she born, she taught others to understand that they were born to be powerful as well.
Amazing. And what probably would be what's missing and what they would say is she was an inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sonja. I'm so excited, darling. It's we're light down to 80-something days. So looking forward to seeing you. See you in London soon.
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to it and I cannot wait. And I'm bringing my roller skates literally. So I want to hear, Sonja, what are you doing with skates on? Hey, I've got to move. It's time to move for sure. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much. Lovely to speak to you. See you soon. Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.
All the best. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for being here. All the best. I love you. Bye.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.